Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Kaitie Zhee with a weekly update on Wednesday, February 19th. I'm joined today with David Johnston and Paul Snow.
Hey guys. There we go.
We've got Paul's on the road today, so he'll be coming in and out. All right, so for this week's update, I think we can probably keep it a little short and sweet, talk about some of the stuff that's under works, where things are going to next, maybe hear a little update from ETH Denver and how that experience was. So David, I know you published an article to your Medium. We'll post that in this video below about the risk levels and 1-minute conversions. And it sounds like there's getting some traction around that. You want to touch on that?
Sure. Yeah, one of the developers who in Discord published a great write-up sort of about the different approaches and options to implementing 1-minute resolution for the conversions so that people can basically lock in a price at a 1-minute granularity instead of a 10-minute time that we have right now. So that would obviously be a huge improvement for people that are using the system for doing those conversions. And so instead of 144 a day, you'd be able to do 1,440 conversions a day. So that's just a lot more capacity and capability. So I'm really excited about that. So thanks to Who for posting all those details, and I think other developers are reviewing those now.
So with the 1-minute conversions, moving away from the 10-minute, what does that mean for the average PegNet community member, user, trader, hodler, miner?
PegNet is getting faster. That's the easiest way to say it, right? So it's, you know, people like things instant or as close to instant as they can be. In distributed systems, it takes a little time to propagate information. So, you know, the longer you wait, sort of the safer things are. So it's a question of how much we can shorten it to make it just easier and faster for people to use. And it seems like 1 minute is doable. And it's something that we can move towards. Maybe people will come up with even more creative ways to shorten it in the future, but it's sort of a good, you know, near-term goal is to get towards 1 minute.
Really cool. So not going to argue with that. People want things instantaneously. We know this. I just ordered something from Amazon this morning. Do you want to pay to have it here today? Yes, I do. You know, so all right, with that said though, what is the timeline looking like? What's the development look like under this? And what kind of expectations could the community see? And do we need help anywhere?
Certainly need all the help we can get. Who's looking for other developers to sort of review the options, see if they can come to consensus on what is probably the best option and how to implement it. You know, I'm sure he wouldn't object if somebody just went ahead and did it, and he could review the work, you know. And so, yeah, just jump into the Discord channel. All this is happening in the PIPs channel, PegNet Improvement Proposals. So if you see the PIP or PIPs channel there in Discord, that's where a lot of this chatter is taking place. That's a big lift. Like, it's going to take some time to do the 1-minute conversions but there's some smaller projects that the people in the community are really excited about, that they're sort of easier and faster to do. So I'll just highlight 3 real quick. Chainlink integration. So at ETH Denver, great conversation with the Chainlink team. It seems pretty straightforward for Chainlink to start getting data fed into it from PegNet. We need somebody in the community to effectively set up a Chainlink operator node and start reporting in those values from the 42 assets that are on the PegNet. So that would then get included in the median prices that they report for Chainlink. And vice versa, we'd like to see Chainlink as an option for the miners to use as a source of data. So there's sort of ways we can strengthen both projects. This is really important and really timely, given the recent, not really hacks, but like attacks on a couple of DeFi projects where it's all been about manipulating Oracle. And these projects like had one central Oracle that they were pulling data from, and somebody was able to mess with that oracle and push prices around. And it basically sort of mucked up the way they expected their loans and their DeFi system to work. And so PegNet with a fully decentralized oracle, like this is really timely. This is what we need people to move towards, especially since PegNet uses proof of work. It sets a really high barrier for somebody to try to do that in our system because we don't have a centralized oracle. There isn't one source of the information. Miners are free to choose any data set they want. The end number ends up becoming a median effectively of all those different data sets that are submitted. And so PegNet is just really robust and taking a whole new approach. There's also a cool approach that's being experimented with by Shapeshift called MicroTick that uses sort of a live auction system where people are betting on the next price of an asset. It's really sort of an interesting way of sort of emergently seeing what prices are that isn't dependent on, again, on a single source of data. And so that's another cool thing to look at. So Chainlink or integration, very timely. There's just so many cool tools in the Ethereum community where we're at that we can hook into. So Uniswap is another one of those. So there's a bounty now up on getcoin.io for both the Uniswap integration and the Chainlink integration. So within, I think, 9 minutes, we had received a bid to work on the integration for Chainlink. So it was the #1 voted thing in our February survey of the PegNet community. So apparently it's also a lot of interest on the Ethereum community to do that integration. So those I think are going to move pretty quickly. Those are fairly small, sort of well-contained, definable things that we can knock out and get coded up. So I'm optimistic we'll see those integrations in the next few weeks.
That's really exciting too. And to have the exposure to those other communities as well and help, just evangelize what PegNet is, what it represents, and having people become aware organically in such a way is a win-win as well. So that's exciting. What's really cool though, I think, David, and kudos to you and whoever else was part of creating this new system or modality of voting and organization of how we organize as a community. It's like almost like this hive kind of activity where you have these bees where they just come together and they organize themselves just so for optimal results and speed and efficiency. And I think this is a testament that looks like things are going well. The community's responding in 9 minutes to, and it's good for the health of PegNet to have that focus area versus a disparity of focus.
Yeah, I think we've just managed to kind of shorten the normal time and sort of alleviate the normal bureaucracy with a lot of how community development typically happens. And so by letting individual people suggest things, individual people fund things, it can move at the speed of wherever people are passionate. So by sort of not trying to get everybody to agree on everything, or even a majority of people, you sort of have a lot freer hand to, oh, well, somebody's willing to fund a Hypercube video for explaining, PegNet assets. Like, that's awesome. You only need one guy who is willing to put up the funding for that. And it's like, oh, well, let me introduce you to the Hypercube team, right? And so, seeing those kind of things just move so quickly is really cool. One integration that people have wanted for a while is TradingView. And so a lot of times the bottleneck is really just finding a qualified person. So I was recently approached by a community member that is really experienced building trading bot integrations. And so they are now actively working on a TradingView integration with PegNet. So there's a huge community on TradingView. It's like 3 million users. And they write scripts and they can be executed across exchanges. So what we'd like is if people could take those scripts and be able to execute them on PegNet or vice versa. So that would be a huge way to just give people a tool that are already in that community, already trading assets, and to be able to access PegNet and ideally go back and forth between PegNet and external exchanges. So that's just started development, and you know, I'm donating towards that, and I know other people are excited about that tool set. So that's another integration coming soon.
I think that's one of the great value propositions of PegNet, right? Is that the low, almost nothing transaction cost and ability to go in and out of your position so frictionlessly. So definitely, I think that that's a good fit. Speaking of the video, I don't think it came out too much, but yeah, so someone is funding the video, a really cool video by one of the best known in this industry for making videos of these deep tech complex systems and making it in a way that people can understand and relate. And it's like, I get it now, you know, so that's underway. It'd be really great to have a strong video to go out there with PegNet with and have people sharing. So got that. Let's see. Where, if there were one or two areas where you would want the community to focus on in terms of getting involved, where would they be?
I mean, the easiest way is just to start playing with it. Download a wallet, and you can go and look at the wallet section on Discord, and there's a link to the Kibani wallet. So it's a Chrome extension, super easy to use, and there's a matching website. I believe they're pushing an update. I believe the developer said the other day that will add the rest of the new pegged assets that get added with the last hard fork. So I think you'll have all 42 of them available now on the web wallet, which will be great. And I know they're working on a big update with the beta to make it sort of a lot more polished on the interface and add some functionality there. So excited to see that. Mining, prosperpool.io, join a mining pool, you know, makes it super easy to get involved. And, you know, if you're a developer, there's a lot of money available from the community for all of these different things they're pledging towards. You know, jump right in, right? And just build it and deliver it, and you'll get rewarded, right? So there aren't a lot of sort of barriers to get involved, whether you're a trader, a developer, or a miner. So you know, it's kind of really low bar to join in this permissionless community.
I would like to add that if you're not a developer, or if you are, but you happen to enjoy writing, please get in contact with me. Would love to get some support from the community on creating more content and pieces to just keep pushing out the different narratives. And it's such a robust system. There's so much to offer from it, that there's a lot to talk about here, and a lot of progress too, and updates as well. So.
Yep. One other thing is, if you want to hold a meetup, let us know. That is awesome. We've got some going in New York and other places. So if you want to host a meetup, that is very welcome. And, you know, kind of really build sort of the grassroots of people just being able to get together and talk about what's going on in PegNet. I did want to highlight for a second, the volumes have really been growing on PegNet. I just checked. We crossed $23 million in volume, in 24-hour volumes on pegnetmarketcap.com. If you go there, and total conversions has crossed 150 million in conversions on the network. I mean, given that growth rate, like, we're gonna be busting through multi-$100 million milestones for conversions, like, on a regular basis. So, you know, kudos to the people out there, I don't even know who they are, that have apparently been able to build trading strategies and really get it out there and start using it as intended.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
Your voice wasn't coming through there for a second.
That's all right. No, it's just really cool. I don't even know who's doing it, but clearly people have been able to build out more trading strategies, and they're moving around value in the network as they see different coins are doing well. You can see just the value flowing through the system as people are rebalancing their wallets. So that's clearly leading to more and more 24-hour volume. So just really incredible to see people using the system as intended.
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. So let's get that update from ETH Denver, because this is such a little sweet spot community, large community for PegNet.
Yep.
What was the response there? First off, it was huge, I imagine. It
It
was
was huge.
massive, overwhelming.
It was like 5 levels packed with developers at tables of a building with 2,000 participants building sort of everything you can imagine. But all the teams were there, from Shapeshift to our local in Denver, but also Chainlink and Gitcoin and all the different sort of popular services on top of Ethereum. And it was cool because we're wearing our PegNet branded shirts. Thank you, Katie. And everybody was like, "Oh, we've been hearing about that, and tell me more." And then a few people were like, "Oh yeah, we're totally into it. Like we've been mining, or we've been trading, or all the rest." And so it's cool to see sort of that level of engagement. So I think the name's getting out there. I'm starting to see us getting included on DeFi lists, and sort of people know that it's one of the top projects by volumes. And so. But it was just amazing. It was 3 solid days. So it was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, an entire weekend of building. They picked Valentine's Day for whatever reason. All our wives and girlfriends.
Very romantic setting.
Yeah, spend time with those you love.
Yes, right.
See you and the buffalo corn in Colorado.
Right.
It was pretty awesome. Vitalik gave a few speeches. A lot of other folks that are involved in the community were there. But yeah, it was really down to earth, and people are just so collaborative, and it's clear to me that that's where the network effect is at. And it was an open event. It wasn't exclusively Ethereum, but sort of like there's this alliance of people and open protocols that are open to collaboration, right? There were Cosmos people there, and there were folks from Ethereum Classic there. There was like sort of a good mix of sort of all those open communities. And so I think one of the single biggest factors for the success of PegNet is going to be how much we collaborate in our community, how much we hook into all of the infrastructure that's available. Gitcoin is a perfect example. It's like, look, everybody needs to connect great developers to all the things communities want to build. And they've got 3,000 developers on the platform, right? Like 9 minutes to get a response for a bounty to build a cool integration is incredible. Like compare that to, oh, we're going to set up a foundation and we're going to hire people, full time. Like there's just so much friction versus, oh, it would be cool if that got built. Let's post a bounty. Oh, we already got a response from 4 qualified people. Great. Pick a couple. Let's get it going and let's do this. So, just the speed, I think, at which we can move. So now that we've got the Ethereum signatures added to the PegNet software, compatibility improving with all the ERC20 stuff, we're going to be in all the Ethereum wallets and all the Ethereum infrastructure. So the more I think we can do stuff like that, where it's about building collaboration, the faster this is going to move.
I couldn't echo you more on that sentiment. From somebody who studies these trends and I mean, this is just what I geek out on. That is exactly it. And I think this is a whole new paradigm of modality of working. If anyone's ever read the book by Salim Ismail, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. He wrote a book called Exponential Organizations, and it was published in 2015 maybe. So some of the data might be a little out of date, but the content is still so relevant. And it's basically, there's some key pillars that that dictate the speed and the ability to become an exponential organization. If you're looking at the Uber and the Airbnb, but now there's this whole new wave too, and New York Times just reported on it as well, but to revisit that article before I misspeak. But basically it is that collaboration is one of them. Community is one, collaboration is another. Another one of the pillars is leveraged assets. And what that means is, instead of owning the fleet of cars, instead you rent them. you know, so a more end contractor basis. So all these new shifts in the working model changes everything. Oh, you're on mute. Sorry, David.
Yeah, and for PegNet, I think we can check off all those boxes. One, it's an open community. Two, we have so many ways we can do these integrations and collaborations. And three, you know, because, you know, the devs here picked LXR hash, it works with all existing computers. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to have a GPU in order to participate. So yeah, no, totally agree with that. And you know, to your point earlier about writing and partnering in the community, like we are not going to be able to spread the word by ourselves. We need an army of people that get what's going on and want to join this revolution and are spreading the word in their circles, in their channels and stuff like that.
That's it. It's tapping into that network effect. 1000%. Paul, David and I have completely dominated this chat. To give you some airtime there.
Well, I didn't have a whole lot to add because I didn't actually end up going to Denver with David. I do think that in the coming months I'll be traveling more to spread the word and working more with some of the improvements of the PegNet. And so all of this stuff is very exciting to me. And I think with the right tweaks, this is a distributed DeFi application. We don't really know how these applications work in the real world, despite all the theories, until we actually deploy them. And we're in the process of learning, and this system is in the process of improving. And we're dedicated to that. All the developers and myself, Stephen, too many for me to list, are all still focused and still and actively looking at how we can push this forward.
Awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, it's great. I mean, the community doesn't sleep. My phone is like when I wake up every morning. So that's actually a cool thing. If you're watching this, if you believe in PegNet, you love PegNet, you want to support PegNet, and if there's one small thing that you want to feel like you're contributing towards and you're attending a conference or a meetup, hit us up. Ask us for, you know, if there's a way to get a t-shirt or how we can make that happen. Or I think just the response that you got, David, from the conference, and I think that's a great grassroots way to get involved. However, it does come with the caveat, you got to send pictures so we can share them. But yeah.
Cool.
So.
Awesome.
All right. Well, there goes that short little Wednesday, February 19th update. And with that, I guess we can sign out and say see you online. And until next week.
All right. See you guys. Bye.